What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video. I'm just going to go ahead and warn you, it's going to be a longer video more than likely. You'll see in the minutes. But we got a double dosage of wrestling fantasy booking to go through. Because I, in this video, will tell you how I would book AEW All In and All Out 2023. Now, if you want to see just straight up the card, I'm gonna put the timestamp in the description. But maybe if I'm just straight up with you, this will go well. I'm gonna be honest. This video is supposed to be out Wednesday. This video is supposed to be out last Wednesday. But stuff happened Wednesday. Didn't get the crap done. Then today, Saturday, try to do this earlier. The 4th of July weekend, obviously, and people celebrate that all weekend with fireworks. For 3 hours, there's on and off fireworks going off. Didn't want to be distracted. And like, oh, here we go. Then, just recently, 20 minutes into this video, camera shuts off, pauses, done. And I was like, it's kind of a sign. So, maybe if I'm just straight up with you guys, I can get this done. So, I'm going to go through, like, my disclaimers that I always go through. Like, if you have any questions, like, hopefully I'm already answering them in advance. And then I'll talk about the cards. So, the disclaimer. I'm only using people on the AEW roster. The biggest names that, because like I said, I go up and down the AEW roster 100 times, making sure I don't miss anybody. And the biggest names that I was like, they're not booked. And after Collision slightly makes sense. Samoa Joe and Roderick Strong, mainly Roderick Strong because he got carted off on a stretcher. Get well soon, Roddy. But I didn't know really what to do with them on these cards. And I'll go ahead and tell you, All In has a lot of tag team matches. All Out, I think personally, is the better card. And the main reason for that is I feel that in real life we might have to, this might be a 1 week because they're a week apart. So, I don't know how in real life they're going to manage it. Like, they're going to book the cards simultaneously. And they're like, oh, this match is at All In. This match is at All Out. So, that will be confusing there. But to be fair, I'm just going to confuse y'all a lot more. So, the thing that I personally did is I booked the matches for All In. I'm focusing All In on All In. And then the stuff that happens at All In is going to lead to the stuff that happens at All Out. Because like I said, it's a week later. So I tried some of these involve storylines that are going on ongoing. Some of them don't, and I'll explain that storyline when we get to it. So 3 minutes in, let's get into it. The first match that I have booked for All In is the team of Sting and Darby Allin versus Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. Sting and Darby Allin have been teaming for the past 2 years. They are undefeated. You're probably wondering why they're not facing Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. They've already faced him twice. I don't want to see them face him again. So they need to move on to something else. This is a big-time show. We need Sting on it. Sting's my favorite wrestler, obviously. So that's why I always mention that he's undefeated in AEW. So, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus are the current TNT champions. And they mention that you have to earn your way to get a TNT title shot now. There's no more open challenges. Or Darby Allin, who's been an historic TNT champion in the past, had the open challenges and defended it, and it meant something. So, my storyline is that Darby is pissed at how the TNT championship is being used, but I mainly just needed a big tag team matchup to put Sting and Darby Allin in, and the TNT championship will be involved later at All Out. We'll explain it then. Next, another tag team matchup. This is an 8-man tag. The BCC versus Eddie Kingston and the returning Death Triangle. Now, I know that Bryan Danielson, at the moment, is hurt. Get well soon. But his current timeline is that he's supposed to be back for All In. So it would make a little bit of sense to involve him in a tag match and not have his first match back be a singles match. That way, if it's a tag match, he's not going balls to the wall. Even though he probably will, is Bryan Danielson. And we've already seen in real life the tension that Eddie Kingston has with the BCC, mainly Claudio Castagnoli, because he does not like Claudio Castagnoli. One of his best friends, Jon Moxley, does. They're in a group together. And so Eddie Kingston had to go find his own group. He's close with the Lucha Bros, but he's not close to the returning Bastard Pac, would be in his hometown area. I don't know with the United Kingdom, London, I say their hometown is like, oh, they're in their hometown. So I'm going to say that for the Bastard Pac, but it'd be his return to AEW in this matchup. Next, another multi-person tag. This one being the Outcasts versus Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and the returning Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa returned a month ago, and we have not seen her again. She's supposed to be involved in a collision, but maybe she's not cleared, but I don't know why you would tease her and then still not have her there. Jamie Hayter, again, she's hurt. We haven't seen her, so that's kind of how you should do that. But hopefully Jamie Hayter would be back for this event, because like I said, it's in her hometown, and whatnot. And ever since the Outcasts have been formed, they've been feuding with Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, and they have not really had a conclusive end to it. And obviously in real life, it's still continuing, because Britt Baker's facing Ruby Soho this week on Dynamite. This, hopefully, at All In, would be the conclusion. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter is very similar to the previous match, where Eddie Kingston doesn't want to team with the Bastard Pac. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter probably don't want to team with Thunder Rosa, but Thunder Rosa has history at the Outcast. She's supposed to face Toni Storm at last year's All Out, and that match didn't happen. So, we'll come back to that, obviously. Next, another tag team match. I can promise you, the next matchup is a singles match. But this one is a 6-man tag. The Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page versus the Guns and Juice Robinson. Probably should have mentioned it when I talked about the BCC, but I imagine that the BCC versus Elite storyline will be wrapped up by the time All In happens, because they're doing Blood and Guts in July. So, I want the Young Bucks focusing on the tag team titles once again. Now, I know they're in a 6-man tag match, but the trio they're facing involve two teams, or technically two teams that have been heavily focused on challenging them for the tag team titles, that being the Gun Club and Juice Robinson. So in this, I'd hope that this would prevail the Young Bucks to challenge for the tag team titles once again, which, again, we'll come back to that. Now, we get a singles matchup. This is probably what would be the match of the night. Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita. Takeshita turned on the Elite at Double or Nothing. Kenny Omega has known Don Callis all his life, but Don Callis is now aligned with Takeshita, does not like Kenny Omega. It would be the perfect opportunity to get revenge. And like I said, this is a matchup that I don't think about that often, but and I haven't seen a lot of people oh, we want to see that match. But I feel that once these two men have a one-on-one matchup, it will be a big deal. Next, for the TBS Championship, I said Chris Statlander versus Athena or Sky Blue. Now, why I say or? Because I personally was choosing who I think will win the Owen Hart tournament for the women's side of the bracket. I personally would like for it to be Athena, because I watch Ring of Honor every week, and Athena has been a fighting, dominant champion, and now people that don't watch ROH every week can see Athena on AEW because she's involved in this tournament. And I think she should be rewarded with winning. But Sky Blue has a lot of momentum going for her right now, so I think that there's probably a good contingency that would want her to win this tournament, and I wouldn't argue it. So I just wanted to reward the winner of the tournament with a TBS title match, considering the Women's World Champion is involved in a match already. Next, for the trios tag team titles, the House of Black versus the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Now, I know the House of Black are linked with Andrade at the moment, but Andrade Roosh, I have no clue where he's at. And Preston Vance and Drew Listico are involved in Ring of Honor. We haven't seen an AEW in a minute. So I have no clue what trios that Andrade could form by the time All In comes around. And at Double or Nothing, we already saw this matchup take place. So this time around, I thought of some higher stakes. And those higher stakes are, if the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass lose, that they can no longer team together. So I feel that this would be a big-time matchup. They said that they wanted to be the Trios Tag Team Champions, even though they haven't been involved since Double or Nothing. I guess it makes sense to space it out a little bit. So I just did this match because I feel the Acclaimed are obviously too big of names to not have involved on this All-In event. Next, for the Tag Team Championships, FTR versus Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara. Now, I will admit, I'm not going to say I forgot about the Tag Team Eliminator Tournament, but I did not mention it whatsoever. And it's slightly weird that the 3 teams so far announced are teams that, like, have history together, like Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy, on and off again tag team. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, good friends, bitter enemies. And Adam Cole, MJF, 2 guys that just had a 30-minute time limit draw, and surprisingly they were, like, linked together. So in hindsight, if I wanted to involve this Eliminator tournament, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara could be a team involved, and this is how they earn their tag team title opportunity. But the main reason, the main story in this is that we know that Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara are more than likely going to split up and go their separate ways very soon. It's just, we've seen Sammy slightly have enough of him, and they lost their last 2 times they teamed together. And we've seen in AEW again a couple of times before. We see a split up happen, that they team up one last time, and then the split happens, and it's just, they try to extend it as much as they can. And obviously with this being a big event, that's going to be the case. And it's a big tag team for FTR to face. Next, for the International Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Yes, I am that asshole that still calls him Jungle Boy. And since he turned his back on Hook, kind of a more serious guy, obviously, and does not want to be considered a joke anymore. Now, somebody that a lot of people consider a joke, I don't, personally, is Orange Cassidy. And the main reason that Jungle Boy snapped is that he's not a champion. He lost 2 big title opportunities. Now he's getting a 3rd title opportunity against somebody that he sees a lot of himself in, but wants to break that mold and break through the mold, I guess I should say, and become a champion finally. And Orange Cassidy is obviously a defending champion. We get another great international title match at this event. Now we get to a double main event. Now, I personally don't mind when double main events take place. I know a lot of people get mad with that term, double main event or triple main event, because it's like, no, there's like one main event. It's the match that goes on last. This time around, I think it makes sense because both matchups have the same stakes involved. Let me explain. Since CM Punk came back, he has mentioned that he never lost the World Championship, and that he has a bag that we believe a World Championship is in. So at some point, he's going to reveal a world title, I believe. And it's going to be very similar, a la to Money in the Bank / SummerSlam of 2011, where he left without losing the championship, and then he came back. He was the championship, and the person that was champion and has been champion since he was gone, he called a fraud. But that world champion is linked into a feud right now, that being MJF. He's been linked with Adam Cole. So this is very Wrestle Kingdom-esque, where they unified the World and Intercontinental Championships. And I just made that connection recently, and I'm too lazy to Google what Wrestle Kingdom that was. Is that Kota... Oh my god. Actually, that was 2 different Wrestle Kingdoms. This is a realize it. So either Tetsuya Naito or Kota Ibushi unified the IWGP and Intercontinental Championships. Pretty sure it was Naito, and then the next year, Kota Ibushi won the championships. So that would have been 2019, and then 2020 was Kota Ibushi, or vice versa. You get the point. But anyways, Night 1, or Wrestle Kingdom, had a double main event unification match. So in this, All In, the main event is a double world title match. CM Punk with his world championship defending against Jay White, a guy that he's been linked with since his return to AEW, and we've seen them tease each other. And then MJF defending his world championship against Adam Cole, a guy he's been linked with for a minute. They're in the blind eliminator tag team tournament. More than likely will not go well for them, and Adam Cole would get his revenge and his world title match. And I think the best way... the thing is, I personally would like the idea of CM Punk having his own world championship, but AEW probably doesn't like that idea because it's going to confuse the audience that isn't watching it, really like, oh, when did CM Punk become world champion? And then MJF comes out, he's got a world title, and they're like, why the hell is there 2? It would be a confusing aspect. So that's why they would need to go ahead and unify them, but that take place at All Out. We'll get to that when we get to that. So my double main event for All In is MJF versus Adam Cole for the world title, CM Punk versus Jay White for CM Punk's world championship. Now we get to All Out. I have, I believe, 13 matches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 matches booked. I know I didn't count all the matches for All In. I don't care which matches would be on the pay-per-view, would be on the pre-show. That stuff doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to say all 13 matches. You can pick them if you want to. So let's go through the all-out card. The first matchup that I have is a tag team gauntlet #1 contenders. Like I said, I want the tag team titles to matter again, and we properly get #1 contenders. I know we're going to get that from the Eliminator Tournament, but that tournament's going to be long gone by the time All Out comes around. So in this gauntlet, I had the Lucha Bros, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, the Gun Club, the Acclaimed, and the returning Hardy Boys. Next, the Women's Casino Battle Royale. At All Out 2019 and All Out 2021, they had the Women's Casino Battle Royale take place. I don't remember who won 2019's. I do remember 2021 was Ruby Soho. So, the return of this Battle Royale to get all the women involved on the pay-per-view event. And I would have the perfect winner be the returning Jade Cargill, have her return, have her win, and then she'd be hoisted into the women's world title scene because we've not seen her in it yet because she's been linked with the TBS title for so long, and have her return and win this tournament or Casino Battle Royale to become #1 contender. Now we have a lot of matchups to go through. A lot of matchups with people having history. So I got to go through this in order because, like I said, I've tried to film this video several times. The last time I filmed it, it was all out of whack. So these 4 matchups all have a theme. They're all guys that used to be friends that are not friends anymore. First one being Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. Now, Moxley has kind of been ignoring. I try to say annoying. I guess that's what Eddie's been doing to Moxley. But tensions will rise up because we've already seen these two face off in AEW before, and Moxley doesn't really want to face them again, but it's going to happen. It's all going to be because of Claudio, and I just think All Out will probably see this matchup. This matchup is definitely going to take place. More than likely to be at All Out. Next, we just saw this tag team breakup at Forbidden Door. Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Hook. I think they're going to try to wait a while for this match to take place. That's why I did Jungle Boy versus Orange Cassidy at All In. And then, obviously, I added Orange Cassidy retaining. And then we get Jungle Boy versus Hook. Jungle Boy is mad that he lost to Orange Cassidy, but Hook is mad because he wants to get revenge on Jungle Boy. And now I'd have that revenge take place at All Out. Next, Chris Jericho versus Sammy Guevara. Like I said, the hints are out there, the tension's out there between the two, and obviously losing at All In a tag team title match would be the tipping or breaking point of that. And next, Adam Cole versus Jay White. The main reason that I mentioned Wrestle Kingdom a couple minutes ago is because I don't want to say the losers bracket because they don't say that, so the constellation bracket. The main reason I say that is because at Wrestle Kingdom, the next night, the two guys that lost the Intercontinental title and World titles on night 1 faced off in a one-on-one match at night 2. So it'd be very similar. The people that lose the World title matches at All In have a match at All Out. And like I said, Adam Cole and Jay White have been linked together in AEW because Adam Cole brought Jay White into AEW last year. So now we get 2 crazy matchups. Two matchups that have happened before. The first one being Hangman Adam Page versus Konosuke Takeshita. It was a match that happened last year, and now having it a year later with higher stakes and making it a bigger deal and having it on pay-per-view, I think it will be a bigger deal. Even though I just said that, I said it twice, so it's got to be true. And then this matchup, I need to pause a second. Because you're probably like, you're really booking this match on 1 week build out of nowhere. Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson 2. Like I said, the main issue with All Out and All In is like, there's a week difference in them. And Bryan Danielson more than likely will not be involved in the Blood and Guts match July 17th between the BCC and the Elite. So, to firmly wrap up the BCC versus Elite, We get the two best competitors of each side facing off once again. And guess what? The two already have history before because they've had a time limit draw take place. They need to know who the better man is. And this would just be the conclusion of this long rivalry that I've been talking about. So Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson 2. And who knows? Whoever wins it could face the world champion. Hint, hint. Next, for the TNT title, I said I would get back to the TNT title. We were finally getting back to the TNT title. An 8-man ladder match. Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin versus Andrade versus Miro versus Daniel Garcia versus Keith Lee versus Swerve Strickland versus Wardlow. To make up for lost time and lack of TNT title defenses, Luchasaurus has to defend the title against 7 other men, 7 deserving men of title opportunities. Because like I said, Darby Allin would be upset at how the TNT title is being treated. And 6 other men besides Darby would be getting an opportunity to get a championship that they would want. So that's why I put it in a ladder match. And I'll be honest, I was trying to think of All Out last year. They had a ladder match. So I was like, maybe a year later. I'm trying to think. Almost every year at All Out, they've had a ladder match. Because they had one at 2019. They had one 2022. 2020 they didn't. 2021 they might. I don't remember. Pretty sure no. So it's not a yearly tradition, but it is what it is. Next, for the tag team titles. Another match you're like, oh my god, you're booking this on 1 week notice. But again, they have history. FTR versus the Young Bucks. If you were listening during the All In, I'm like, I want the Young Bucks back involved in the tag team title hunt. FTR desperately need the Young Bucks. I'm not going to say they do, but they need the Young Bucks back in the tag team title hunt. And like I said, they're tied 1-1 at the moment. The Young Bucks beat FTR for the tag team titles at Full Gear 2020. FTR beat the Young Bucks for the Ring of Honor and I believe Triple A tag team titles on an episode of Dynamite last year. The Dynamite after Supercard of Honor. I just, that might be right. I don't know. It seems like it's right. So this is the tiebreaker. And who knows? Maybe the 2 groups they're involved with can feud after this. Wink, wink. Next, for the International Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Ricky Starks. I feel Ricky Starks kinda doesn't have a direction right now because he's been linked with the Bullet Club Gold that I hate, but I don't feel he's going to be with CMFTR. I hate that name, but I said it anyways, that much longer, so we need a direction for him. And maybe this is where Orange Cassidy finally loses the International Championship. I'm not for it, not against it. I'm neutral towards it, but I feel that Ricky Starks would be a great man to take on the role of becoming International Champion afterwards. Next, for the Women's Championship, Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa. A year in the making. Because like I said, at last year's All Out, this was supposed to be the matchup. Thunder Rosa we have not seen in a year because this will be her return bout. And she never lost her Women's Championship. She had to vacate it. So she's getting her long-awaited rematch title opportunity again at All Out. And now, the main event, unification for the AEW World title, MJF versus CM Punk. Very similar to what I just said. CM Punk didn't lose his World Championship. He had to vacate it. These 2 men have history. They have faced off twice before, technically 3 times if you want to count MJF's 2 wins. And CM Punk obviously has a win. This is probably the second biggest match that AEW can do right now. The biggest match that they can do is CM Punk versus Kenny. I didn't want to go into it, but I went into it. But this is the second biggest match that they can do. And especially with having the world title involved, it makes it a way bigger deal. And it would be 50-50 who the hell is winning it. Because what we're seeing right now, MJF's title defenses, is just like, yep, MJF's going to win. MJF's going to win. Where I feel with CM Punk, there's a real possibility that he can win. Because in the last 2 times he had a world title match, he won, technically the last 3, because he had the unification match with Moxley that he lost. But I'm not counting that. But CM Punk, it's a 50-50 thing. Because then you got to think, well, do you want CM Punk being world champion again? Because he was world champion, then he had to vacate it twice. It's a great thing. Because like I said, I don't know who the hell could beat MJF for the title. CM Punk, I feel, is probably at the top of the list. And with that, and it's just a lot of questions come after it. But guess what? That wouldn't be my decision. So I'm 25 minutes in. I finally finished this video. I'm gonna blabber on slightly a little bit more because I have another fantasy book and how I'd book video coming out tomorrow. That one being for SummerSlam. Hooray! So, like I said, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hope you understand everything. If you didn't, comment a question and I'll answer it because I would be happy to. So, I always enjoy doing these fantasy booking cards. And the AEW fantasy booking cards get a lot more views than the WWE ones. So, thank you for that. Hopefully, we can all enjoy the rest of this weekend. Please stay safe. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.